Hey, what's up? Have you heard of Christy Mixie? I'm the bad guy. Our next underrated movie review will be. Yes, this is very, very underrated. This movie, I don't really research on how well it does in the box office or whatnot. Maybe I should start doing it. But let's see. This is one of these movies that's kind of like predicated on camcorders and email, texting, typing, instant messaging, that type of stuff. And, video chatting. It basically have all of that in it. Well, not all of that, but most of it. For the very least, most. And I didn't take any notes. I didn't leave any notes. So what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, I'm just going off the top of my head. I guess that's the best I can do. So, throughout this movie, the guy's daughter was missing. She went missing, and the dad, he's using the computer and probably help from her contacts to, locate her. So I think like from the beginning of the movie, it's showing you Margot from time she was born up to the point she's in high school. And her mom died when she was like in first grade. They was jogging. I think she kind of stopped. You could see her in the background. She kind of ran up to the wall and tried to catch her breath or something. And then the guy kind of looked back with the husband. He kind of looked back to see if she was all right and found out that she wasn't. I believe he kind of dropped the camera or the phone or whatever he had in his hand. Um, so they spent some time in the hospital with her. She was expected to come home and she didn't make it. So they pushed the day. I think it was like on March 6th. And then it went from March 6th to April 1st or some shit like that. So so I guess her condition got worse. So she wasn't coming home, and I think she lost her battle to cancer. I think it was cancer. And Margot was like first grade, I believe. So that was a sad loss for her and a much bigger loss for the husband. So, um, it it kind of got like a lot of suspense or a twist to it because it was going a certain direction that you think it's gonna head there, but it was just something they just throwing in there. Uh, like one thing for sure was her playing piano, and you would think that the piano is going to have a big thing with the movie or with the character, and it turns out it's not. So apparently, her dad was giving her piano money, or yeah, piano money. I don't remember how much it was, but apparently she wasn't using that money to get lessons. I think she was saving that money for something else, but they didn't say what she was saving it for, but she wasn't taking the lesson, but she was taking the money. And when her dad found out about it, it didn't sit right with him. And I think he sent her a text. I'm talking about he was going the fuck off. But he deleted the text. I mean, I think it was like a full paragraph. And he was just going off on a text message or email that he was sending her. And then he was like, nah, this is too much. Then he backspaced all of it. I believe the reason why Margot wasn't taking the piano lessons because I think it was her mom's idea to take it, and reminded her that it was her mom that got her into it is the reason why she didn't look at it the same anymore. But unfortunately, she never told her dad about it. Uh, it's kind of like reality. The dad usually always the last to know. But I think her uncle knew about it too. I guess she's more. It seems like she's more closer to her uncle than her dad. Uh, mm, so back to the text message that he deleted. This is the time where she was missing for about a day or going on a day. I think she was still missing when he sent that text message. So I think the first few days or the first day, he didn't know what to think. He was probably thinking she was late coming home, or maybe she had other things to do and she never showed up. So I think he went on her computer and started looking up clues. And I mean, I'm kind of fumbling here because it's a lot to remember, and I should have taken notes and I didn't. And I'm trying to use this opportunity to get this out the way so I can go on to the next movie. So I'm trying to remember exactly how did he started tracking her. Okay, so he been sending her text messages and he was getting no response. Cause it started it when she called him like 3 times, but he didn't answer because he was asleep. So the very next morning he tried to video call her, and there was no response from her. So he been trying to get in touch with her, and she hadn't been responding. So that was like the first sign. Uh, so then he started calling this one woman who had a son, and they were supposed to be going on a trip, which supposedly he forgot about. So he thought that she went along this trip without telling him. And that's kind of like a sigh of relief, believing that she's okay, until the next day when the boy called back and said that she never came. So when the guy called and told him his story, that's when he went to the cops. So he went to the cops and he was kind of irate. He gave a lot of descriptions and details about his daughter. And then, like hours later, this cop called. It was a female cop. and she wanted him to give like the same information he already gave, and he damn near went off on her about that. So the twist about this part is that the cop that called to help him with the search or with the missing person report had something to do with her being missing. Uh, and basically, what she was trying to do is cover it up. And she gave him one big clue, and then I think what happened when she gave him this big clue, she something came up in her mind, and then she had to like leave. And what she probably ended up doing was going back to the crime scene to cover up, because I think her car was still out there, and I think she went out there to push her car in the water, which they did find like later on in the movie. And when he found, well, let's take it back a bit. Let's take it back a bit. So I'm trying to what's the dad's name? Was it David? Yeah, I think it was David. So David called her. I guess she didn't pick up. Maybe she was asleep, or I don't know. Cause you can see that when she called him back and he had the phone in his hand, she was putting on her clothes, or she was putting on her pants. But they had the camera where you couldn't see her from the waist down. Uh, so she was telling him that she was going to be over there, and then she asked him like, "Did you call the cops? Tell me you didn't call the cops." But she didn't say, "Tell me you didn't call the cops." But that you can hear that in the tone when she asked him. So he held something in his hand, and it was a Pokemon ball that he had bought her when she was a little girl. And from that point, she been a Pokemon fan up to high school. Uh, so they went up there and they found her car in the lake. So they pulled the car out and they checked the car. There was nobody. They checked the trunk. They checked the trunk and it was nobody. So she's still missing. So the father was like, he was thinking of people to contact online, and he was chatting with his brother, and his brother was suggesting he should check with her contacts offline, and he looked kind of like, how did I miss that? So he started doing that, and I think his brother is probably like the VIP in this movie, because if it wasn't for that information, he wouldn't got any closer to finding his daughter. And when he was searching for somebody offline, he was talking to this chick. I think she had like two other girls in the background. He was asking her about his daughter, and it seemed like she wasn't being cooperative, because the answer she was giving him like she meant to throw him off or something. She was telling him stuff like we're not that close, we're not really friends, and which is kind of weird and odd. Why would you do that? So she was telling him other things like um I really can't remember. But she did tell him one thing, that she goes on Tumblr a lot. So when she told him about Tumblr, he started looking it up. I think it's spelled without the E, but you can see that he was typing it on the computer that he spelled it with the E, and then you know how Google does it. It'll ask you, "Did you mean this?" and they'll spell it the way they think you're looking. Think you're trying to spell it. Spell it. So he was. I think. I think that's how he found out about the spot that she went to because of her Tumblr video. Cause there's a spot that she up. There's a spot she takes that she always upload her videos. She's always at this part of the lake, and when the police lady sent him a surveillance clip of her on the highway, going somewhere else, he knew exactly where she was headed, like a day or so later. But when the lady sent him that clip, she was trying to tell him that she was a runaway. The piano money that he was giving her that she never spent on the lesson, it was on a bank account. And then the money was drawn out from that bank account to a hidden account. And then apparently she was supposed to take the money and ditch town. And the father knew his daughter well enough not to do that. So he didn't buy that story one bit. So thanks to her, he got a lot closer to finding his daughter. So the cop lady was under a lot of pressure once she knew the car was found. So she got with one of her workers to make a false confession video. He made a video. We don't know that the guy died or whatever. They didn't show his body, but I don't know. Maybe so, but I'm kind of think something else happened. Maybe he took the money and he had to leave town or something, but he just had to make a confession video before he done so. So she put that out there. He was saying something like, "I should have listened to you when you told me to stop," and all that type of stuff. And then the video clip ended. I think it was a short video. It wasn't long, but they didn't show him pulling a trigger or however else he's supposed to kill himself. We don't. I don't think we know how he killed himself. I don't know if he did it with a gunshot or did he hang himself. But he wasn't buying that either. So I think here's where things got interesting. I think when it was having it was a memorial. I'm about to say that wrong. When they was having a memorial, I think they had it like online, and he had it on his computer that she like just stepped in and she was taking a seat. And then when he saw that, he picked up the phone, or did the phone ring? Either he picked up the phone and dialed, or he answered a phone call. It was one or the other. And then there was a lady on the other end. She was talking about how this lady volunteered to help him. And the guy was like, "What you mean volunteered? She was assigned to this case, right?" And the woman like, "No, she volunteered." When she found out that they were doing a search on your daughter, she insisted. So he went to the computer again and he did some research on this, like, one of the first pictures he saw. And one of the first pictures he saw was her with construction workers. I think they were construction workers. And like the guy standing right behind her to her, was it to her right? The guy standing right next to her. He saw that he was the one who made the confession. And he probably realized that she did have something to do with it. So he hung up the phone and I guess he called the cops and went to the memorial. And that's where they show where she got arrested. Well, she did. Yeah, she got arrested, but when you see it on the memorial video, when she got up and about to take her first step, the video kind of buffered out, and it kind of stopped right there. So she was in an interrogation room, and they asking her questions about why did you do it, and she was telling the interrogators that she's doing it to help out her son. She took full responsibility for what her son did because he's different. I mean, by looking at him, yeah, you can say he's different. He looked like he had some issues. All right, so what happened was the girl got freaked out by this guy. They were supposed to be sitting in the car or whatever, I don't know. And I don't know, she got grabbed the wrong way or whatever, and she got out of the car and she started screaming. And the guy got out and went after her and trying to explain what happened, and she wasn't hearing it, so she had to be quiet. So what happened, he ended up pushing her off a cliff. And she didn't respond after that. So the mom said that she went down there looking for her or whatever, and she didn't see any possible way she could survive that fall. She said something about it was all jagged and whatever. So she didn't bother going down there, and she couldn't call for help for her because her son could be arrested. So to avoid him getting arrested, she did the next best thing was to try to cover it up. And I think she was down there for like I think she was down there for like 5 days, I think. But she was supposed to be dead in 5 days, well, before the 5 days, but one day it rained. So apparently she got some water. But she don't really need food to survive, but she did need water to stay alive. But surprisingly, she didn't drown. And so she gave the location where the girl was, and they went there and they found her, and they was pulling her up, and the case closed. Case closed. That was the end of the movie. She was found. She was still alive, and I guess the cop, she probably got a lighter sentence than what she was gonna get. Because if she would have stayed quiet about it, or if the girl happens to be dead, then she probably would have faced life or death. Depends on the jury or the DA. But the fact that she located her alive, she didn't have to face whatever they was gonna give her. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Well, until next time, I'll come up with another underrated movie review or a foreign movie.